Good evening, this is Hound Dog Steve coming to you on the 4th of March. And Bitcoin. Yes, Bitcoin hasn't really been in the news at all lately, and so I'd like to have a little update on that. And a warm welcome to all of you who are returning to my channel. And I know this is a kind of a switching gears from European news and Brexit news and so on and so forth, but we will be catching up on that in the next couple of videos. But no, Bitcoin and the blockchain, it's really gone quiet. It's interesting, you know, about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when I opened up my YouTube channel, it seemed like every other video was of a Bitcoin this or that, or some new token or coin coming on the market, and how there was Bitcoin millionaires and so on and so forth. And of course that sort of rode a wave up to, I think, $20,000 Bitcoin got to at one time. And so it's been languishing really for the last year and a half, sort of fluctuating between I don't know, maybe $2,600 US and $3,900, $4,000 US in that kind of ratio. But it does have a market cap of 64 billion, which is not too shabby at all, and it's been maintaining that. You know, like I say, it's been going up and down a little bit, but it hasn't fallen to zero, which is a really promising sign. But what I was going to really talk about is, you know, because, you know, when I explain Bitcoin to people, I know a lot of people really don't understand. They've heard of it maybe, or Ethereum, or Litecoin, but I separate it into two stories because, you know, Bitcoin, Ethereum and Litecoin, as far as coins goes, and the other cryptocurrencies and tokens, they are really just some alternative for money, just like a credit card or a debit card, you know, that you can use as a transaction tool. That's basically all it is. That's all money should be, is a means to facilitate a transaction between two parties. And so the other half of the story is, of course, blockchain. And in the meantime, in the last year and a half, the use of the blockchain has absolutely exploded through just about every industry that you can think of in our society. In energy, BP and Shell have created a blockchain energy trading platform. Deloitte is pushing insurance companies into using blockchain for data management. The OMAs, the Ontario Municipal Workers Pension Plan, has bought a trading platform on Ethereum to trade cryptocurrencies. The execs from NASDAQ are embracing the use of blockchain, and it's the incorruptibility of blockchain that will basically bring it to the surface. It's going to rise to the top, just like the cream always rises to the top. If you can prevent fraud before it happens, I don't care. As I said last night, we all need a level playing field, and if you can prevent fraud before it happens, that is such an incredible leap forward to be able to create trust at a distance. And this is all done by triple entry accounting, you know, which is really, well, we couldn't do triple entry accounting until we had the internet. It wasn't possible for a system to do a systems check before a deal went through. So now that we have the internet to facilitate that kind of interaction within a system, you know, we've never had this before. The internet is the complete facilitator of the whole concept of blockchain and triple entry accounting. And so you know, it was only really a matter of time once the internet became as established as it has been before someone came up with this notion. But prior to the internet, it was not possible to step out of the paradigm of double entry accounting, which has been standard practice for years and years and years. And so this growth of the blockchain and the trust in the blockchain is going to facilitate the use of cryptocurrencies. So why aren't cryptocurrencies being more widely used throughout the world? Well, there are 4,000, little over 4,000 Bitcoin terminals in the world now. And of course, one of the huge things has been the speed of transaction. because all of the transactions have to be put into a block, and that block has to be proved by a miner. That took some time. So, sometimes it could be anywhere between, 20 minutes and 12 hours, depending on the circumstances, to have that process. Well, that's way, way, way too long when Visa and MasterCard are processing within seconds. Well, now we have the Lightning Network, and this is basically on the verge of coming into being, and it is going to speed up Bitcoin transactions to the speed of credit card transactions. Okay, so that is one major hurdle that has been crossed. The other thing that was holding people back is that, like inertia, things want to keep on doing what they're already doing. We have a system that's already set up. Yes, it has its flaws, the biggest of which is inflation, which is kind of like a secret hidden flaw, waiting in the closet to grab you as you walk past. But aside from that, it essentially functions pretty well. You can transact worldwide. Yes, the fees are absolutely atrocious that some of these banking institutions charge for doing essentially an electronic transaction. However, what I'm saying is it's quite usable, and as long as it's quite usable, it's really hard to get people to move over to a new system which is really doing an identical job. The big pluses with Bitcoin and the blockchain is that it is a universal, it is incorruptible, it is not able to be hacked. And I've heard people say, oh well, anything can be hacked, it's only a matter of time. Well, maybe it is a matter of time, but you can certainly see at the present time the death of Gerald Cotton from Quadriga, which was an exchange. Now, he had the keys to the deposits, the crypto keys, and they were hidden. Now, there is speculation as to whether, the company is trying to pull a fast one or not. That we don't know. But to all intents and purposes, those keys are missing. And I can guarantee you that with $150 million at stake in cryptocurrencies, and hundreds of accounts, that are left in limbo, they are employing some of the best hackers in the world, and they can't get in. They can't get in to the crypto accounts. So that tells me, well, a couple of things. It tells me don't keep your money in an exchange. You need to put your money into a wallet. If you have to have a hot wallet, get something like Exodus. Exodus is an excellent hot wallet. It is incredibly secure, and you'll see by the sign-in process how secure it is. But I have a hard wallet, which is completely offline. But I never leave money in exchanges, because this is the kind of thing that can happen. It's not a safe place. There's lots of doors opening and closing in exchanges all the time as people make transactions, and so there is always a risk of some kind of spillover. And if something happens to the exchange, it gets hacked through one of these open doors, then you are left holding your particular crypto babies, and you're stuck, like these people are stuck. Okay, so you've got to take your precautions. Yes, you have to take personal precautions. Anyway, let's go over to some of these articles that I have found in support of my case. I'm just going to flip through them quite quickly. I don't think we need to read all of the details, because they all basically say a very similar story, which is a very positive one for blockchain and cryptocurrencies. Okay, so let's take a look at that, and we'll come back and I'll do a quick wrap up. Okay, here we go. Okay, first story, Globe Mail. OMAS expands cryptocurrency presence with $50 million Ethereum public company offering. Ontario pension giant OMERS is pushing further into the rapidly expanding cryptocurrency business through the creation of an Ethereum-focused public company that is planning to raise $50 million. The pension fund, the first in Canada to invest sizable amounts into Canada's technology sector following the 2008-09 recession, has already made a handful of small bets on cryptocurrency or blockchain-related companies. Its latest move is an attempt to build a meaningful business around a platform known as Ethereum, which was invented by Canadian Vitalik Buterin. Okay, Deloitte and RiskBlock Alliance wants to bring blockchain to Canadian insurers. Global consulting firm Deloitte, an early adopter of blockchain, recently added Blockchain Insurance Consortium supporter to its roster of accomplishments, supporting a consortium of insurance companies seeking to implement blockchain in the insurance industry. The Street, Nasdaq exchange is all in on using blockchain technology. The exchange's head of blockchain product management, Johan Toll, said that far from fearing blockchain, Nasdaq is actively embracing the technology. South Africa's start to use Nasdaq's blockchain for e-voting system. The South African Central Securities Depository has signed an agreement with Nasdaq to implement blockchain technology in proxy voting. This from Hardfork. Shell, BP and big banks launch energy trading platform on the blockchain. The centuries-old paper-based trading process of the oil and gas industry is getting overhauled, courtesy of the blockchain and an industry consortium including Shell, BP, ABN AMRO, ING and Societe Generale. The world's leading energy producers and banks joined forces earlier this month and today launched the new blockchain-based trading platform for physical oil trades, reports the Financial Times. Deloitte, 95% of companies surveyed are investing in blockchain tech. Deloitte recently released its 2018 Global Blockchain Survey titled Breaking Blockchain Open, and the report offers valuable insight about how businesses around the world are implementing the distributed networks and blockchain technology. While blockchain is not quite ready for prime time, it's getting closer to its breakout moment every day, the report states. Momentum is shifting from a focus on learning and exploring the potential of the technology to identifying the building practical business applications. The Lightning Network, transactions for the future. Instant payments, lightning-fast blockchain payments without worrying about block confirmation times. Security is enforced by blockchain smart contracts without creating an on-blockchain transaction for individual payments. Payment speed measured in milliseconds to seconds. Scalability, capable of millions to billions of transactions. Low cost, by transacting and setting off blockchain, the Lightning Network allows for exceptionally low fees. Cross-blockchains. Cross-chain atomic swaps can occur off-chain instantly with heterogeneous blockchain consensus rules. CEO of Canadian crypto exchange Quadrangle CX filed will 12 days before death. You see, they're very suspicious now. Gerald Cotton, the recently deceased CEO of major Canadian crypto exchange Quadrangle CX, had filed a will 12 days before his death, Bloomberg writes Tuesday, February 5th. Okay, now, my point is with this story is whether this is some kind of underhandedness going on, they can't get into the accounts. And that's the important thing. The security of the blockchain is not compromised and cannot be compromised. Your money is safe as long as it's not in an exchange. You have to have it on a hot wallet or on a hard wallet that's offline completely. Okay, and as I said, there are a little over 4,000 Bitcoin terminals in the world, and you can see the United States, Canada, Austria, United Kingdom have the most locations, but you can see that just about every country in the world is represented. Even Zimbabwe has a location. Mongolia, Kenya, Indonesia, Iceland, Guatemala, Philippines, Kazakhstan, Ecuador, Kosovo, Chile, Saudi Arabia, Norway, Turkey. So I think you can see that behind the scenes, blockchain has been making tremendous strides, and I understand that the government is looking at it for data management within its own departments, and so yes, I think the blockchain is here to stay. Now, why would you want to use Bitcoin or Ethereum or any of these other tokens? Well, I can't tell you how many videos I've watched in the last 6 months. The most recent was the Catherine Austin Fitz with USA Watchdog, and Max Kaiser with Tracy Herbert. But just all talking about the amount of debt that is swirling around the world right now. And this, of course, is my number 2 prediction for 2019, is that this is all going to come to a head this year. Okay, because exponential growth is absolutely unparalleled in its ability to overtake your ability to keep it in check by making payments. And so all of these banks, all of these central banks, every bank in the world has been collateralizing as much debt as it possibly can to try and keep up with this exponential interest growth, and it is just not possible. And so it's like a sort of creeping cancer that the only way that you can pay off the debt is by creating more money, but as you create more money, you create more debt. You know, it's a bit like throwing gasoline onto a fire rather than water. And at some point, as Steve Keen is fond of saying in his rich Australian accent, well, debts that can't be paid won't be paid. When you reach that point where you're absolutely just completely over the top and there is no way, every morsel of your income is taken up with servicing debt, and it just keeps on coming, that's when you have that capitulation. And you know, people talk in terms of crashes and so on and so forth, but it won't be a crash or a grinding halt. It will actually be a little thump as everything stops transacting. And when that happens, that's when you will switch to a Bitcoin, Litecoin or Ethereum type of transaction system out of necessity. Because we're living in a world where we have to transact. All of us have to transact. We all have bills to pay and one thing or another. And if you have a system that is already up and running, and all 3 of these systems are up and running, and when this lightning system comes online, finally, transaction speeds will just go through the roof, and it won't be such a hard switch, and we will be thankful. But that is when you'll see the actual value of Bitcoin go through the roof. Because I think what will actually happen in the end is that Bitcoin will become a kind of reserve currency, and for a reserve currency to be a reserve currency, it has to absorb all the debt in the world. And so for Bitcoin to do that, it would have to be valued up in the millions. Okay, so anybody who's holding Bitcoin right now will be an instant millionaire. So how this will work is in all of our separate countries. In Canada, for example, we won't abandon the Canadian dollar, but our Bank of Canada will become a real Canadian central bank, and it will create the dollars for Canadians. And however we choose to use that currency, to use it wisely or to debase it, will depend on your exchange rate into Bitcoin and then on into another currency. So you could only spend your Canadian dollars within Canada. If you wanted to go to Europe or to England or wherever, you would change your Canadian dollars into Bitcoin and then into the currency used by your country of destination. And only then would you realize whether you had a lousy country or a great country. Because if you gave them $1 million Canadian dollars and got 3 euros back, I think you might be worried about what is happening with your central bank in your country. But that's how it would be contained. You wouldn't be able to infect the rest of the world with your poor money management ideas. Okay, and that's why you should never really be interconnected by a country that has the reserve currency like America. Because America is settling its debts by printing money and making the rest of the world suffer the consequences. And so, anyway, it is this acceptance of the blockchain that has the government actually very worried. And when you hear negative reports of the blockchain from banks or from the government, please take it as a sign that they are extremely worried, because it's going to eliminate fraud. And I will let you draw from that what you will as to which system is fraudulent and which system isn't fraudulent. Okay, well, I hope you've enjoyed this information and this little Bitcoin update, and if you have, please like and subscribe and comment below. Click that big red button, it really helps when you do. And in the meantime, this is Hound Dog Steve signing off, and we'll talk to you very soon. See ya. Bye.